Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi are ready to negotiate again in the room, but Larry Kudlow's not sure if the three of them can get it done. Good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE Evenings. Hope you're great. This is our 1 hour programming block, which, based upon Larry Kudlow's math, is 5 hours in length. It starts every night at 6:45 Pacific Standard Time and continues with EIDL. But coming up tonight is a special encore with LALATE Evenings, our debut of a new series in this block. Thank you for joining me. Really exciting news about the second stimulus check, especially if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and railroad benefits tonight, as the two powers that be really go, yeah, the cats are just meowing at each other more than a bad Friskies commercial. Let me get right to it. Nancy and Chuck are going to, well, actually, Nancy and Stevie are going to start negotiating again next week, as Nancy Pelosi indicated that she would, and Steve Mnuchin basically sort of said that he would, but they have to negotiate. She has to give him a better offer. But then there was this. The shocking statement came out minutes ago from Pete Navarro, who's, again, one of the president's cabinet members, and he's one of those people that does the Sunday morning circuit interviews, and he basically said where he thinks the negotiations should end, that the two parties should meet in the middle. And ironically, that's exactly what Chuck Schumer said earlier today. Let me get to the exciting, great details. As you know, the stimulus packages from these different people or parties or whatever version, whether it's oral or written, is about $1 trillion initially apart. The Democrats propose $3 trillion. The Republicans propose $1 trillion, depending on which version of the bill, whether it's the one that Mitch wrote or the one that, Mark Meadows seems to just conjure up in his brain when he's watching I Dream of Jeannie. And yet they're $1 trillion apart. Well, Steve Mnuchin has said to Nancy Pelosi, come up with a lower number, and Nancy Pelosi has said come up with a higher number. But Chuck Schumer, who's always out on the edge of the discussions, said, well, I suggested to them to come in the middle. What we need is a number to come in the middle. I said to them, this means it means that it's either your way or the highway, and they basically said yes. That's not the way to create a deal. He said that Mnuchin basically said we're staying at $1 trillion and we're not moving off the number. He said we are willing, the Democrats, to come down $1 trillion and we'll compromise and meet them halfway. They don't want to meet full halfway. They want to meet any way that they think that they want, which is staying exactly at $1 trillion. Well, Pete Navarro, which is really the great news, said basically the same thing that Chuck Schumer says. What we need is a sincere negotiation, aka they haven't been doing it. They've been spending 2 hours twiddling their thumbs. We have to believe that both sides actually want a deal and that this is the theory. Chuck, the Democrat, who would prefer to see the economy go in the tank for another 10 days because it harms the president. But I would say if they want, but then he said, what we need to believe is that the two sides meet right in the middle. Now, what's really interesting about that is if the two sides do meet in the middle, we have a deal. And it's ironic that Pete Navarro is not the one negotiating it. Now, his dig at Chuck Schumer is quite interesting. Is the Republicans' position and the president's position going to be that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are intentionally not doing a deal to destroy the American economy so it implodes and that President Trump is not reelected? And will that be the pitch that we start hearing next week? Interestingly, maybe it will be the pitch. But he said that he's not happy with the level of negotiations. And when asked Navarro whether he likes Mark Meadows, amidst widespread reports that Meadows has been the cause of not getting the deal done, he said that Mark Meadows is a great negotiator. So there we go. Then what also turned the twist was he was asked Navarro about the likelihood of this all standing up in court, and he said yes. Let me get right to that right now. Your second stimulus check will be coming to you, but we have to get through all this hot mess, and the Hot Mess Express is really not getting off the tracks. It's not even coming to the station. $1,200 second stimulus check was agreed to by all these parties. And it's so simplistic, and it's so basic, and it's so obvious that two parties wrote two bills, and that both their bills said that $1,200 will come to the American people, a second stimulus check, and that it would come quickly, urgently, and fast. And yet the check is part of a large package that has a lot of stuff in there that shouldn't be in there. And that's why the check is taking up so much time. So viewers are asking me, well, could I still receive the check? Yes, you're going to receive the check. I'm representing to you, you are going to receive the check. Why? Because the two parties have said you're going to get the check. They've actually confirmed in the very first 2 days of the 2-week negotiations that the check was agreed upon at $1,200. The only thing we don't know about is the dependents. They initially floated $500 for dependents on the Republican side, but it looks like it's not going to float. That is going to be at $1,200 for everyone. Minor dependents, adult dependents, single individuals. If you're a couple, married couple, you double the check. And if you're on child support, it's likely it's not going to be taken out under the second stimulus check because that's a Democrat proposal. So why can't we get our check? And people asked overnight, why wasn't the president doing an executive order for the second stimulus check? I don't know. What I do know is the following. 1, if he did it, it would be unlawful. 2, it would go to court tomorrow morning, and I don't think the president wants that in court because that sounds a little weird. 3, the president has no authority to issue money. The money must come by act of Congress, so he can't actually send you the money. But it would look good for his purpose to say, I tried to send you the money, and the Democrats wouldn't send you the money. So in that regards, it could potentially look good as a nice, jab and push. But on the other hand, the question is, why is no one just getting your darn money? Now, the next question is hazard pay. Hazard pay, what's going on with hazard pay? Hazard pay is likely to get approved, and I'll tell you why. That nowhere in this discussion have we heard that hazard pay is too much money or that anyone opposes hazard pay. But Nancy Pelosi has stayed on book, stayed on subject, and talked about hazard pay every single day. So there's all indications that hazard pay is going to get approved. FPUC, I'm going through these really fast, so stay up. Stay caught up. FPUC, that thing that that Larry Kudlow cannot do the math for. Larry Kudlow's not sure if 400 plus 400 is 900 or if 400 plus 200 is 800. He's just not very good on his math. And Larry Kudlow, despite his remarks, was asked to discuss FPUC. I will discuss it with you instead. FPUC is proposed by the executive order is $400 per week. But if the states don't want to pay it, they don't have to pay it. And I actually did that on the video this afternoon. The president was asked the question, what if the states don't want to pay this money? He said they don't pay it and people don't get their money. Who cares? I don't care. Yeah. Now, the bottom line is, are you going to get that $400 people have asked? And it will be retroactive benefits. No and no. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to court tomorrow morning. The Democrats and the Republicans are already prepared for the legal battle. It's going to court. They probably even know which attorneys are signed to the case. It's going to go to a judge for an emergency temporary injunction. And that once it's invalidated, then what's going to happen is that all this would just sort of push everyone back in negotiations. Very great news. We'll have everyone back in the negotiation room. We'll actually get things done, as Pete Navarro says, real serious negotiation. Not what Mark Meadows does, which is just sort of threaten people. No one likes someone who threatens people. It's like, it's like, stop it. It's like the viewer who dropped in the comments to today's video. He says, I saw you wear that shirt yesterday. I did not wear this shirt yesterday, so please. This is a different shirt. I can't help with the color blindness. I just can't. This is not the shirt from yesterday. So that was that. Then rent assistance, that was the one that really wanted to make me angry on camera this afternoon, and boy, did I hold it in like the Incredible Hulk. The president said he gave you an eviction moratorium in the executive order on Saturday and a mortgage forbearance that prevented you from losing your home and kept you safe in your home from eviction. Nice promise, completely bogus, because the actual document doesn't say that. It's unclear whether the president didn't read the document or simply knows what the document says and doesn't want to tell the truth. I don't know. The bottom line is the document is not an eviction moratorium. It says nothing about preventing evictions. It says nothing about keeping you in your home. All it says is you will call up the Department of HUD, Ben Carson, and speak to them when you have a problem. I'm sorry, I don't need therapy. I need an eviction moratorium. Wow. So there we are. What's going to happen on Monday? Monday, what's going to happen is that you're going to hear a swarm of action about lawsuits. Everything is going to sort of swarm around lawsuits. Nancy and Steve are going to progressively get back to negotiation. I don't know if it's exactly on Monday or Tuesday, but they will get back to negotiation, and hopefully two things will happen. Pelosi will remove that horrible bailout of states, which ate up $1 trillion of the second stimulus package. No one wanted it. It was absurd, and it actually brings them right to $2 trillion. That's the first thing. Second thing is that Steve Mnuchin actually wakes up and understands that the executive orders don't do anything, that they're a waste of time, that they're unlawful, that they're not effectuating anything, and that you can't do things by executive order. And at that point, we could have a deal. How fast could this turn around, LALATE? Wow. The timetable is this. As soon as Nancy and Steve get this done without Mark and Chuck in the room, and they emerge from the room with a deal, then Mitch McConnell, who's probably eating chicken while I'm recording this video in Kentucky, will order everyone back to the Senate to sit there and vote and get a vote. Hopefully it's a pass. And at that point, it will go to the president for signing, and you could have a law as early as Tuesday or Wednesday. Do I think it's going to happen that fast? No. Do I think it's going to happen next week? Yes. And how soon would that mean you start getting money, and what money would you see? Yes, the first thing you would see is your stimulus check. The stimulus check could come by electronic means 7 days after the thing becomes law. So you would look at the calendar the day the president signs it, and if you receive your SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits by electronic receipt or direct deposit to your debit card or anything like that, you would count 7 days plus 3 from the date at which it signs into law. The reason I add 3 is not because Steve Mnuchin says it, because I said it, because some banks take a few extra days to process stuff. That is calendar days, not business days. Next, if you do things by paper check, and this is also for the IRS doesn't have any electronic things set up for you. For paper checks, then you would add like another week to 2 weeks. So you could see funds in August in your bank account for the second stimulus check. Great news. Great news. How about hazard pay? Not so fast with that hazard pay. Hazard pay is going to be that video that's never going to end. Hazard pay is just going to drag on and go sort of slow. Food stamps, right away. Mortgage eviction and foreclosure relief right away, the moment it's signed into order. Will there be rent grants? Don't know. That is really a battleground for negotiations with these parties. Ultimately, I've seen a lot of great questions today. Thank you for the great comments. Thank you for really jumping in and being informed and inspired. Let me answer some of the questions I saw. First, has this been held up because of SSDI or SSI, Social Security Railroad benefits? Are they to blame? No. A couple of viewers keep on thinking that the president doesn't want to give it to those people particularly. No. The whole process has been held up because it was a big bailout for states. It has nothing to do with your group of people. That's the first thing. Second, child support. A lot of people keep on asking, how about child support? I don't know per se exactly where it's going to land. It looks like it's going to land where the Democrats propose. The Democrats propose you don't take out for child support. The Republicans propose you do take out for child support. It looks like it's going to land there. Next, people asking me what do they think I think is going to happen with FPUC. One, it's going to get invalidated in federal court. They all sort of know it's going to. I just think this is sort of a horse and pony show. They know it's not going to float. It's going to be thrown down a second. They're using this as a tactic between the two of them. They're both having tactics with this so that they get back to the table and negotiate. Now, ultimately, before the HEALS Act, the Republican plan came out, I said to you, ironically, if the Republicans came in at $400 or $500 a week, I think the American public would say to the Democrats, take the deal. if it went all the way to January 2021. The problem is it came in at $200 a week. So now if they go back to the negotiating tables on Monday, Nancy and Steve, and say, let's do $400 a week to January and ensure it's coming from the federal government, not with this supplement to the states, so the states don't pay it, we'll pay it, and maybe we will. No. It is $400 from the Department of Treasury every single week. Shut your mouth and send the money out. I don't want to hear all this crazy math that makes no sense. Stop it already. It's like you're applying, it's almost like someone's trying to sell you a Yugo at the car lot when you want to buy a Prius. It's like, no, I don't want this car. I want that car. And we keep on being pitched this horrible calculation thing on FPUC by Mnuchin. It's like, stop it already. Just give a number. And so if Mnuchin comes in at $400, I think Pelosi will have a problem not accepting $400 January 2021. Next, hazard pay. I think it'll fly. And then finally, all these other things, hard to say. So you could see a big turnaround and a lot of progress very quickly, and you could see your check very shortly thereafter. A lot of great news. Ultimately, what I want to tell you is the following on a personal level. This channel came to fruition on its very first week or so because viewers told me that I kept them motivated, inspired, positive, and still in belief of something about to happen. I sat there and I was drunk and I said to people, you're going to get your grant, you're going to get your EIDL grant. I know it's not coming, it's going to come to you. And I did this with the finger, I kept on doing this with the finger. It's going to come to you, it's going to come to you, you're going to get your EIDL. No one was giving them motivation. And I'm doing this now for you as well because you're going to get a second stimulus check. You're going to get a second stimulus check. And I know it's very heartwarming, heartbreaking to understand you don't have the check now. You're not being given multiple checks. But here I am trying to tell you that it's coming to you. I don't want you to lose faith. On the other hand, I don't want you to expect it to come this week. But you're going to get it. And with that, stay positive, stay motivated. Coming up later tonight, have a laugh with me. Join me with our new series. And right before that is EIDL, a short bit on EIDL for my EIDL loan viewers. As always, stay motivated, stay inspired, stay focused, and stay of LA for more.